enough of talking about if America is great. Let's talk about America's problems for a second, because there are a lot of problems, and we sort of hinted at it here with, race relations and all that, because the Kyle Rittenhouse case seems to be the one headline of the world today, right? It's taken over everybody's minds. And, obviously with the verdict coming out and Rittenhouse being not guilty and him walking as a free man after shooting up 2 people and, injuring another man. Like, this is, yeah. I think the Kyle Rittenhouse case perfectly is an example of like all the issues that are going on in this country today, right? Political polarization. The left has a perspective that Rittenhouse should be in jail. The right thinks that Rittenhouse should go free, gun, and they have their different reasons. The left thinks that there's context behind the racial relations and all of this stuff. And the right thinks, oh my God, no, fuck that. Like, it's not about race. It's about a man who was trying to self-defend himself, who was helping other businesses, right? There's so much that goes into this case. It's very politically polarized. And the fact that the verdict was not guilty. Most of my friends who tend to be on the left are very active and posting on social media saying that this verdict was, bullshit and all this stuff. Understandable. Totally understandable. And you guys are probably thinking at this point, like, oh my God, are you really about to say this is self-defense? No. Here's where I stand with this whole kind of perspective on the Rittenhouse case. I understand the self-defense argument. And on paper, it makes sense. On paper. When you're looking at this case, literally, if you literally listen to the facts of the Rittenhouse case, this is a cakewalk for the defense. They're going to win this 10 times out of 10. You read the laws, you read the technicalities of the Wisconsin Code, they're going to win it. The defense is going to win this. This is a cakewalk. I mean, there's no evidence. You cannot dig into Kyle Rittenhouse's brain, and there's no evidence that you can personally pull that can prove that he had malintent to murder these people, right? These people had weapons pointed at him. There were weapons pointed in his direction, given there is context behind that, but you cannot prove the context. Can you prove that context? The prosecution had a hard job here. They had to be able to prove that context. They had to be able to prove the underlying truths in this case, that there was race relations and there were all of these different things going on that night that led to this. And the prosecution did an absolutely horrible job of doing so. The defense just did their job. They did their job. They pointed out the flaws in the prosecution's obviously fundamentally I thought was a really bad argument that they put out. They seemed to pick up their act a little bit towards the end, but even then I thought they made a critical error, as I called out, and they lost. But, I'm not surprised that the defense won. You look at this case on paper, it's a cakewalk for them. How do I feel? My personal opinion? Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse should go to fucking jail. Absolutely. I don't think that this shouldn't even be a question. The man is holding an AR-15 strapped to his freaking body with a full metal jacket and is saying that he's defending the building and that he's an EMT. Dude, I have never seen any paramedic walk out of the, ambulance carrying an AR-15 ready to shoot up people. You go in with an AR-15. This is my personal opinion, by the way. You go in with an AR-15, hell no. That's not self-defense. That you're trying to start shit. Go into any bar, go into any place, public setting, and carry a semi-automatic weapon. You don't think people would look at you differently? You don't think you're not trying to start anything? Yeah, you are. You're 100% trying to start shit. So my point is very simple, is like that you can, like, physically and in the court of law, you cannot sit here and prove to me, boom, this is the case, and there's context behind it and prove those layers. That is very hard to do. You cannot do that. But from my point of view, I really do firmly believe that Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty and should be in jail for homicide. Because, listen, I am pro Second Amendment. I also want to make that very clear. I think that you should be able to carry a weapon around to defend yourself. Totally. If you're in an open carry state, why not? It's written in the Constitution. Do whatever you need to do. But those weapons that you carry around should not be fucking semi-automatic weapons, okay? And you should not have like full rounds strapped to you. You shouldn't look like you're about to go to war in Iraq, right? You could carry a handgun in your pocket. You could carry a hunting rifle, which you have to reload and all that. There should be no semi-automatics allowed on the streets to a 17-year-old kid. That makes no sense to me. But yeah, that's my personal opinion on Rittenhouse. In terms of like what I saw coming, like, yeah, I saw this coming from a mile away. You see the way that like the case is just constructed for the defense to win this. It's a self-defense. And you look at all the technicalities and all the codes, yeah, they win. And is it a pathetic job by the jury? I mean, sure, you can say that. But also, the jury is meant to just go right into the facts that are presented in front of them. And that if you look at it on paper, I'm talking on paper, this is a cakewalk. The prosecution should not win this. It's hard. You have to have a really damn good prosecuting attorney that's able to prove that context and able to prove the layers underneath the case. But if you just look at the literal evidence in front of you, it's self-defense. 10 times out of 10. Yeah, that's how I feel about this. And people are going to be up in arms about this case for a while, particularly on the left. It's definitely going to, affect a lot of people. Going to be interesting to kind of see what the comments are from not only the left, but also like Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm sure he'll do interviews and stuff and talk about that stuff. Talk about, what his feelings are about everything and what his intent was. I'm sure you're going to get all of that. It'll all happen. But do I think Kyle Rittenhouse is a good person? Probably not. No, because there was other evidence that he was like involved in white power organizations and all that. So I don't necessarily think he's a great guy. I wouldn't go be friends with Kyle. I wouldn't be like, yo, Kyle, dap it up, bro. No, that's not, I wouldn't. There are people probably that would. There are people that probably think it is self-defense to this day that are watching this and infuriated at my opinion. But I think that if this case has taught us anything, like, should there be semi-automatics allowed on the freaking streets? No. I'm so sorry, but no. It's no. They shouldn't be. So that's what I have to say about that. But let's move on because we've talked enough about Rittenhouse.